Hello and welcome to my channel, The Midnight Diary. It is so lovely to have you here. You are most welcome. This is the second in the Devon Diaries moving vlogs that I'm producing for this channel. It's not a normal video. Normally I pop on with tutorial videos, some ponderings and musings about creating and crafting, and a semi-regular, an irregular podcast, video podcast talking about my creative journey, what I'm making. I'm the diary designer, tutor behind the Midnight Diary, yarns and designs. I also run a yarn shop for a day job. I run the yarn dispensary in Faversham in Kent. And so my videos are usually more sort of like that. So if you've just stumbled across this channel and that's what you're interested in, then maybe check out some of the other podcasts. This is a slightly unusual video, but nonetheless, I hope you'll enjoy it. So, the moving diaries. I am moving, to recap in case you're not aware, from my home where I live in Kent. I've lived here for the past 7 years. This was our first house that we bought together, and very happy home. It's seen us through a lot, and we are moving our entire lives 400 miles across the country to just outside Torquay in Devon, where my husband is from and where his family are, to start a new family life together, a new chapter. It's slightly daunting, it's very exciting, and the reason for these videos is partly for us to chronicle the adventures, and partly because quite a few of you have expressed an interest in seeing the process and following the journey of the move. It's quite exciting, really, so thank you. I think especially the decluttering and organising. Decluttering and sorting out my patterns and making a minimalism, those have hands down been my most popular videos on this channel. I think there's a real interest in it. I think lots of us are trying to find ways to be more mindful with our making. I know people find mindful to be a bit of a icky word now, it's been overused, but more deliberate in our making, about how to organise our stash, organise our lives, find balance between work and home and play and all those sorts of things. I, for one, have spent a lot of time diving down various YouTube rabbit holes lately and Pinterest rabbit holes. I've always been a fan of the Home Edit. If you haven't checked that out, do. It's on Netflix, I believe. I've Marie Kondoed over the years. I have been a fly baby for Flylady. If any of you have heard of her, I think more of you over on the other side of the pond would have heard of Flylady than here in Blighty. And I am a fully paid up subscribed Hinch fan as well, Mrs. Hinch, a fellow Essex girl. So first video was preparing for the house for photographs to put it on the market. We are a few months down the line now. That was recorded way back in December. We are in the last bank holiday in May. I say last because we've had 3 this year here in the UK because we had a coronation. So we had an extra bank holiday, which was very nice. Thank you, Your Majesty. I'll take that. Thank you very much. The weather's also been lovely. We are in the process now of actually sorting out contracts to sell this home and to purchase our new home. We have found what we hope will be our forever home in just outside of Torquay. It's really lovely, and I'm looking forward to taking you all for the tour in a few months' time. So we are in the scary bit, the big organised declutter and move, preparing to move. I've been doing lots of research. I've watched lots of videos. I'm been a fan of But First Coffee for quite a while. Her channel's lovely. Here on YouTube, The Minimal Mum. She's so enthusiastic, but I love how she blends sort of research and psychology with organising, and it's an honest journey for her as well, which is lovely. Home Edit, as I've mentioned, Marie Kondo. I've spent lots of time on Pinterest, 30-day declutter challenges and all that sort of thing. So now I'm diving in and actually getting on with it. So this video is actually in 3 parts. It's recorded over the course of a few days, more pushing on for a week, to be honest. And I'm focusing entirely on the crafting element of my life. It's something that I can do myself without needing to rope my husband into. And yeah, I thought it might be the sort of thing that interests you. So part 1, which you're about to see, is all about organising my yarn stash. I haul it all out and I apply the lessons I have learned about decluttering to help me edit my stash and really evaluate what I've got and what I want. Not least because it's going to cost well over £2,000 to get everything to Devon from here. It's a long journey. It's going to take the movers 2 days, obviously to load, to drive down, and then to unload and drive back. It's going to cost well over £2,000. So we're being really, really purposeful about what we're actually paying to take. I don't want the new home, which is going to be beautifully empty when we move in, to then just go with stuff. I don't want stuff that isn't going to be important to our new life. And so yeah, so that's that. So enjoy part 1, and I'll see you back here in a bit for part 2. Hello and welcome to the second episode in the Devon Diaries vlogs. We are fast approaching the time where we need to start packing up the house, and so going through everything is becoming increasingly important. I've been watching loads of things on YouTube and reading lots of things on Pinterest, which I've come to realise is probably just a nice way of procrastinating by researching what I've got to do. I'm quite intrigued by the idea of Swedish death cleaning, thinking about what you would want people to have to deal with if the unthinkable happened. And I certainly wouldn't want everyone to have to deal with this. So we are in the nursery. As you can see, there's no cot in here. I'm also talking quite quietly, so I'm probably going to up the volume on the recording. I've had some issues with recording and volume on the last few weeks on YouTube, so hopefully this will be a bit better. But I'm not going to talk very loudly because Robin is asleep next door. I've got him napping, thank goodness. I've got a little bit of time in which to get on, and I thought recording this would be a good start. So the basic principles of decluttering are obviously put away, throw away, give away. So there's 3 sort of elements to it. So you can't organise clutter. It's just moving it around. It doesn't reduce it. So there's put away, throw away, give away. And in my case, the put away is going to be to start putting in boxes. I've actually got some boxes next to me that have already been packed up from the board games cupboard downstairs, which had a massive declutter. So I think the fact we've got that down to 2 cardboard boxes is pretty good. A stack of cardboard boxes next to me that I've been saving from all the deliveries to the shop, and on the bed is just some stuff from the cupboard in our room that I pulled out to go through. And so yeah, I've got a bag ready for throwaway. Put away is going to be organised into boxes, and throw away. I'm not sure what I've done with the bin bags, but I'm bound to have another bag that I can use for that. So first up is things like this. So this is some leftover 4-ply yarn from a project. I can't think what project now, but I've promised this to Paula, who has been waiting for a very long time for me to actually send this to her. But I've just been incredibly busy. So I've got a postage bag here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put anything I come across like this that Paula might find useful. This, for example. I think these are leftovers from my Stephen West, so they go in the back. So there's those which are sort of dedicated giveaways to people, and then in here I'm going to have giveaways to charity shop. I'm going to try and be quite firm with myself here, and then put away, as you can see, I've got boxes of yarn around me that I'm going to try and organise. But yeah, so those 3 things. So how do you decide whether to throw it away or give it away? I've done so much reading about this, and I think the agreement seems to be that if you haven't used it in 6 months or a year, then it needs to go. It's just cluttering up your life. I mean, I would say a year because you get things that are seasonal, but like really truly seasonal come around once a year, especially like where I live in the UK. We have 4 seasons, so it's not like, warm weather, cold weather. It's all in between as well. But yeah, so I thought I'd take you through yarn and stuff and some decisions. I don't want, so today is going to be like, it's going to combine everything I've learned. So it's going to combine my 3 sort of boxes, or my bags, my giveaway bag, my throwaway bag, my put away bag. It's going to have that sort of the questions, am I holding on to it just because? If I got rid of it today, would I buy it again tomorrow? Have I used it? does it bring me joy? Those sorts of really sort of critical questions about things. So for example, these I have kept because I thought I would love to make them for Robin, but they are at least a year old. I have not made them yet, and if I'm honest, the yarns in here are not going to bring me joy. I am lucky enough that I have access to a whole database of patterns. Lots of us do. I'm still lucky enough to be able to use Ravelry. I also have access to online patterns from the yarn companies I work with, and an amazing catalogue of books from Search Press, who I work with as well. So do I really need these? Could they bring someone else joy? Absolutely. So they are going straight in there. I'm being really, really strict myself. I've got so many of them. I bought these to make things for Robin, but I can get these patterns or similar patterns elsewhere, and I can make them in scraps of yarn that I have. That said, I'm not going to hang on to scraps of yarn today. So these are yarn scraps for socks. That's too little to do anything with. That I'm going to actually turn into socks for Robin and scrappy socks for me. So socks, West Yorkshire Spinners socks in there, other 4-ply for Paula in there, Charity here. Right, let's give it a go. So I was just chatting to the camera for quite a while without having realised that I had paused it. Oops. As you can see, I've cleared the bed. The boxes were all moved. The bed is clear and ready to receive my stash, and I'm going to go through it being both conservative and brutal. So what I mean by that is I need to be honest with myself about what I've got and am I likely to use it, but at the same time bear in mind that this is not something I can replace. This is a big move, we're having a big lifestyle change, we need to drastically reduce our outgoings to fund the life that we want in Devon, and so there won't be money for yarn. My stash has increased quite significantly since the last time I recorded. Last time I recorded and shared a vlog with you, it was all about getting the house ready to take photographs and sort of putting things away and analysing what I was going to make within the next 6 months. This is a much more long-term view, so I need to balance the fact that I won't be able to replace this yarn with the fact that I don't want to pay. There's something really weird going on with my camera at the moment. It's just cut me dead completely, and I don't know how much it even recorded. But anyway, I want to balance out the knowledge that I won't be able to get this yarn again with the cost of carting it across the country to just sit in storage and not be used there either. I'm very lucky in that my stash has grown since the last time I did this video anyway. I have some lovely yarny friends and they like to fill my life with yarn, and there's no complaints there. So this bag was the last thing I was talking about when I realised it wasn't recording, and in this bag is a skein. I think it might be Plant Parent or something similar. It's one of Jude's stranded dyeworks yarns. Since the cat Chubbington passed away last year, I seem to have become the cat bed, and I am a perfectly happy recipient of the yarn. So this is a second. I don't see what's second about it. I do get it as creatives, as business folk. We want to be 100% happy with what we're sending out into the world and what we're giving our customers. but I'm 100% happy to receive this, and Mr. Midnight has already bagged it for socks. So I'm going to pop that in a project bag, ready for later. Okay, so the first thing that I've decided to do is to pull out all the projects, all the sweaters quantities, and put them in bags together. Now, some of them have plans already and some of them don't. For example, this is going to be Robin's Christmas sweater. I've got 3 balls of the Fjord by King Cole in their Christmas colourway, their festive colourway. It's really garish. I'm only going to get away with this year. And that has a plan, and so it's going in the biggest, they're going in the biggest box because I know I have a plan for them, basically. So yeah, so sweaters quantities going in. There are some that already have projects. There's one that I'm going to frog. I'll show you this one, look. So this is living in a really cute bag that I was bought by some of my customers, London, New York, Faversham. It's got a bit of sparkle. And in here are 3 or 4 skeins of my, I think this was Under the Sea colourway. I can't even remember the name of the colourway. It's my double knitting yarn back from when I was the project bag. And I had started to make a really beautiful Tilly cardigan by Annika and Alice, but I was making the smallest size because it was going to be a shop sample. But look at that, isn't it beautiful? So much work's gone into that. And I really love the yarn, and I would really like a cardigan, but this, I've decided to rip it out and make something that would fit me rather than a sample just for a colourway I don't dye anymore. I thought that would look really lovely in something for me. So that is going to be frogged. But for now, I know where all the yarn is. It's going in a bag, in a box. Now this next lot isn't going anywhere. These are my fibre punk self-stripers, some of them, and these are very special skeins I'm going to keep tight hold of for now. These beauties are Blanket Club from Truly Hooked, and it's quite the investment. It's about £200 or so spent over the year. So this is definitely going to be kept, treasured and worked up into something special. Okay, so I'm getting to the tricky bit now where I'm having to evaluate yarns in my stash that don't necessarily have plans yet and decide whether or not I'm going to keep them. As you can see, I've put quite a lot in my box to take to the shop tonight to see if anyone wants. There's some hand dyed in there, there's some sweater quantities. Yeah, hopefully they will go to good homes and people who, you know, won't just absorb them into their own stash, but will make something with them. I think that's quite important because some of these I've just absorbed into my stash and I've not sort of honoured them really by working with them or even making plans. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, this one could work up really nicely. It's an Aran tweed and it is 40% wool, 40% cotton, 20% llama. But I don't like the feel of it on my hands particularly, and being cream, although it could make a really nice jumper, I don't think it's going to be practical for my wardrobe with a little boy. So of what's left, some of them are really quite special skeins. For example, this one is Lara's birthstone, Amethyst from Skein and the Stitch. And when I saw she was dyeing it, I of course had to get a skein. So this is going to become something very special for me to remember my daughter by. Equally, my coveted Stranded Dye Works Ocean Rainbow, one of my all-time favourite colourways that Jude dyes. You know, I'm not letting go of that anywhere. Some of these are really special. This one is a fibre punk skein and it was Valentine's present from my husband. This one was a gift from Jude. This is my one skein of Countess Ablaze, and they were going to be socks for my mother-in-law, and it's in the colourway Nightmare. But I will still make them into something for her. But that's a special skein, so that's not going anywhere. Likewise, these are two very special skeins. We've got Scandi Christmas and Snowdrop. Now, Snowdrop for Nora George was actually arranged for me by my lovely friend Jo as a surprise for Laura's birthday a couple of years ago. But what struck me was how beautifully the two go together. They're quite similar, so I thought they could be a really lovely project together. So again, a Lara project and something I treated myself to the Christmas Eve box at Christmas. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up and possibly do a little bit of chat at the end later because I've almost run out of space on my phone. It's taken me about 40 minutes so far, and I have made a huge dent in it. I've got a big bag that's going to be destashed tonight to people I care about, a big bag for charity, a box that have got plans already, a bag for another charity, and a box of precious skeins that I don't want to part with, but that I don't really know what to do with yet. And I think that's okay. I think that is okay. I've reduced the number of boxes of yarn we're taking with us quite significantly. I'm no doubt going to find more yarn knocking around my house because I'm a yarny person, what can I say? But yeah, thank you for coming with me. I hope you found this interesting. Yeah, how do you handle your stash? If you were going to move, what would you do? Let me know. So here we are, part 2. Part 1 was stash, part 2, which we're doing today, is works in progress. Now, if you have followed me for a number of years, you'll know that it ebbs and flows. There are phases in my making. My lovely friend Ellen encouraged me to cast on all the things when I gave up casting on for Lent a few years ago. And if you don't follow Kalakshak Ellen, Mrs. Lamb's yarns, please do. Her yarns are beautiful and she's a lovely soul as well. Do go and give her a follow and a like. Maybe shop her update. Let me live vicariously with the yarn buying. I'm losing yarn, so you buy yarn. Yes, good plan, excellent. And that I didn't really recover from for a number of years. Then when I went on to maternity leave with my son, I actually just finished things. I got lots of things finished. When I went back to work, back into a yarn shop surrounded by yarny people, then I landed myself in a bit of bother again and ended up casting on lots of things. That said, I was quite prolific in my making. I think I made something like 48 projects last year, which is pretty good going. Or was it 38? I don't know. There's a video about that, about my makes in 2022. And so for the start of 2023, I wanted to focus on getting those whips off the needles and hooks, and I did a pretty good job. That said, I react, and I don't know about you and your crafting, I'd love to hear about how making is for you. That said, I've had a tough few months. It's quite a stressful time moving and planning to move and moving your entire life and changing jobs and changing homes and nurseries and all the things and getting ready to say goodbye. And I think I seem to just cast on in the same way as I comfort eat. And there have been many things cast on and I haven't actually sat and looked at them properly in a while. And I need to evaluate it. So all the yarn that's in stash in one box, I'm not sure if I've said this already, apologies if I have. The yarn that I want to keep is staying in that box and that is going in the loft ready to move. The next box, which is yarn organised into whips in waiting, projects that I know I want to do, that again is also going tucked away. So what I'm keeping out is the things that are cast on already that I'm hoping to work my way through in the next few weeks in frantic making, stress making, but there we are. I'm drinking gingerbread chai from Bird and Blend. I don't usually have such sort of designer teas, but this was included in the Little Grey Girls Christmas Eve box that I treated myself to last year, and I don't know what I'm saving it for. So here we are on one of the hottest days of the year so far, about to be in June, and I'm drinking gingerbread chai, and I've got a gingerbread pumpkin spice candle going in the background as well. So how's that if not chaotic and crafty? Okay, so are you ready to dive down this rabbit hole with me? Long-term viewers of the podcast will recognise this. It is my works in progress board. I know some of you actually come out almost in hives when I get this out and find it very stressful the way I create. So I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm not going to change how I work though. And some of you have been inspired to start your own whip boards and trackers as well, which is really good fun. So I pulled this out from beside my bed where it's been living for a while. I haven't looked at it. And this was, I think, just before Christmas, I wrote this down. And I've gone through and I've ticked off the ones that I finished. So I think I'm going to show you this first because I think I deserve a little bit of praise here. So of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 works in progress that I had just before Christmas, I've actually finished 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 of them, so that's not too bad going. So I finished Alan's Robin socks. So Alan's Robin socks were finished in time for Christmas, which I was really pleased about. So this is the West Yorkshire Spinners colourway, and I just did my fuss-free vanilla sock pattern, standard slip stitch heel flap and gusset, and it looks ridiculous because these sock blockers are for my socks and I've got tiny feet and my husband has normal size feet, but there we are. I also finished my holiday slip over, which I absolutely love. I've got so much wear over and I've actually enabled quite a few people to make their own. And Robin's My First Regia socks were also present for me to prove to you that I'm actually finishing things. And there's going to be quite a few, there are going to be quite a few jump cuts here. I've pulled everything together. I'm going to go through and actually look at everything I've got on the needles and hooks and be really sort of evaluative about it and decide, is this something that I'm going to finish? Does it need frogging? Does it need to go to a new home somewhere else? And an order of priority, I guess, as well, is how I'm going to do it. Now, what I'm doing for this particular section of the video is I am considering have I touched it in 6 months? And if I haven't, is it something I really do want to work on? Does it bring me joy? Good old Marie Kondo. Is it beautiful and useful? Does it still fit in with my aesthetic? And those are the kind of principles I'm dealing with here. And how do I feel about it? So I'm going to wipe off my work in progress board now, and I'm going to start working through the whips, and there'll be lots of jump cuts here because I'm not going to subject you to lots of rummaging and rustling, and I'm going to put it out. And this, again, as I said in the stash part, this is a judgment-free zone. If you've got lots of whips, I'm not judging you. If you've got fewer whips, I'm not judging you, and I hope you're not judging me. Now, apologies for the glare on my glasses. I've not got anti-reflection glasses on. I'm trying to sort of angle myself, but it's not working. However, I'm starting to get a headache, so I do need to put them on. But hopefully you'll be looking at the projects rather than me anyway, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. There is an element of the Swedish Death Cleaning to this as well. We in the yarn shop have the great privilege of welcoming people through its doors who unfortunately sometimes have just lost someone. It could be a grandma or a mum or an aunt or a friend, and it happened a lot during and immediately after COVID as well. I mean, I know COVID hasn't actually gone away, people are still catching it, but yeah, it's and they've got projects where someone was in the middle of doing it and they passed away, and they want help to fathom out the pattern, to maybe get some more yarn and finish the project, or they want someone to finish the project so they can give it to who it's intended for, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But if I was to slip off the mortal coil tonight or tomorrow, I think people would run screaming from my works in progress. They're not very well organised, and I've got beautiful tools with which to organise them as well. I've got bag tags, which I'll show you tomorrow in part 3, which is tools and books. But I don't think anyone would have a clue where to start with my works in progress. And actually I find it quite stressful that I've got into the situation where things are a little bit chaotic. So I'm going to sort that out. So here we go. We're going to get started. I'm going to pick a bag at random and share what it is, and I'm not going to organise my board particularly. I'm just going to write it down if it's going to make it or if I'm going to frog it. So first up is the whip I'm working on at the moment. This is actually the second sock, and you haven't seen this on the channel at all because I only started it about a week and a bit ago. It's actually a discontinued yarn, but as you might know from previous videos, I've fallen rather in love with double knitting weight socks. I sent my dad the Pippin Yarns ones just recently, and he loves them, and it's Father's Day coming up, so I thought I would cast on. And I'm actually on the toe of this one. I did the majority of this sock. This is the second sock. I did the majority of it yesterday. So this one will actually be off the needles probably before you even see this video. So it's definitely staying. Bag number 2. Ready for a surprise? So this is a yarn dispensary bag. It was a tote that has been hacked by Veronique, who is Verone's bags, and her handle is Traveller Through the Days. She makes the most beautiful bags, designs the most amazing, no, she doesn't design, makes the most amazing knitwear. And she put gold sparkly interior in this with a pink velvet ribbon to turn it into a drawstring bag for me, which was so, so kind, and I treasure it. Now this one has actually already been frogged. It's the Hoxne Shawl, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, by Carrie Westerman. I really enjoyed the start of this pattern, but I lost where I was with it, and so I've made the decision to frog it. I'm using this beautiful lace weight. It's by Lotus Yarns. Can you see the colours in there? Can I get it to focus? Come on, please focus. Oh, it's not going to. That's so irritating. I might take some B-roll of it for you, and it is really, really beautiful. It's, on the face of it, it's kind of a goldy colour, a mustard colour, but it's got oranges and greens and pinks in there, and it's really, really beautiful to work with. So this one is not being cast back on. It's going into my whip and waiting box because it is something I want. It was originally a sample for the shop, but in making the sample, we then sold out of the yarn, which is a lovely problem to have. So now I've just got this to make, and I think I'm definitely going to make it because I think it's going to be very wearable. It's got a yak fibre in it as well, which is lovely. But that one is not a whip. That's going over there. This one is a beautiful project bag by the Little Grey Girl. I have a matching Notions pouch. I absolutely love this print, and her merchandising of her stalls are very, very clever because she puts the yarns that go with the bags next to it, and the whole thing just says, "You want me? Buy me." But yeah, she's lucky to say she's a friend of mine. She lives locally, and we've worked together on various projects, but I am fast becoming a very big customer. So there's a little matching Notions pouch. And living in here is, oh, is it in the middle of a row? Might be. Oh, that's because I'm changing colour. Okay. Living in here is my habitation throw. And this is my Advent project that I'm using my Advent yarns in from For the Love of Yarn. So this one isn't being frogged. I did keep up with this quite well. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. I got 6 days done quite happily. Or does it go that way around? I've got a stitch marker there. I don't know why that stitch marker's there. It's a beautiful blue tulip from Elderflower Stitches. And I haven't got all the minis in here. The next one is lined up ready to go, I believe. Yeah, that's it. The next one lined up ready to go. They're in my advent calendar upstairs, but this is definitely something that I'm going to be finishing. Next bag, an Amazon gift bag. This is the Isla Shawl by Anna Nikiforovich, another lovely friend of mine. There we are. Ta-da! And I'm doing this, or I was doing this, in the linen from Erica Knight. So Erica Knight's studio linen that we had in stock in the shop. Gonna be honest, the reason it didn't get further than that isn't anything to do with the pattern, it's the yarn. I did not like working with it. I personally found it hard on the hands. I didn't enjoy it. I've got all the yarns here though, and the colours that were picked out, and also a random ball of another yarn that shouldn't be in there, but anyway. This one, I'm not going to frog it. I'm going to offer it up as a kit to the meet and makers on Thursday night and see if any of them would like it. If not, I'm just going to ditch it. That one, it's not bringing me joy. I'm not enjoying the process. I love the finished item, but it's not colours that I'd have selected either. So that one is going. Okay, in the next bag. Now this is an interesting one. So this bag is one that I made back when I was the project bag. I'm quite proud of these little box bags. They were interfaced and a bit squidgy. It had some padding in there as well. nice box bottom, coordinating zip, and of course a little coordinating notions pouch to go with it as well. The notions pouches, I attached ribbon inside so that you could hang your stitch markers from them, so you're not rummaging around in the bottom. So I'm really chuffed with those. Anyway, these became mine, and in this bag is the back of this sweater. Is the architecture sweater by Emma Vining. It was featured in the Knitter magazine coming up for 2 years ago now, so and I did cast this on when that issue came out, and you can just about see the start of the bottom there. So this, I finished the back, and that is actually on display in the shop as a work in progress, so that's why I've only got a little bit here. And the yarn I'm using is Aran Roving from the Croft Wild Shetland collection, and it's like an ombre type yarn. This one's called Turning Tides. Aran weight, hand wash only, 166 meters to 100 grams, and I love it. I chose a really thick cable pattern because when you're dealing with roving, it's not plied, so it can actually pull apart at staple when you get to the end of staple length. So I figured if I did a cable sweater to test the yarn, that would really put it through its paces, and I'd know if I wanted to sell it to my customers. Needless to say, 100% passed the test. The work in progress has been on display in the shop. It's even been in the window since January, and I just need to get this done. I would love to have this as a finished sweater. We want it for the shop, and it's going to be mine eventually as well. So this one is staying. Okay, this one is in a little box of crochet box. And it is the, it's a cast on edge of a headband. There's nothing wrong with the headband. It's beautiful, it's cabled, and it uses Kid Silk Haze held double. Unfortunately, I did not get on with the pattern. We do still want it as a sample. We've still got the pattern in the shop, but I'm not going to be doing it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off the needles now, and I'm going to return that to the shop and ask one of my colleagues to do it, because I'm sure one of them will be able to whip it up quite quickly. The other issue I've got is that I can't actually use mohair now. Having had COVID, I've been left with, I had mild, very, very mild asthma anyway. It only really affected me when I was teaching teenage boys and they sprayed cans of Lynx in the room, and then I'd have a horrendous asthma attack. But mohair is now affecting me. So that one is going. Okay, so we are 6 down, and we've got 3 gone and 3 staying. That's not bad. That is not bad at all. Okay, so this one is my own design, and I must admit I absolutely love it. It's a little cable top, the Robin's vest that I designed. I did the first one for a baby that was born around about the same time as Robin, born in the January. And I cast on one for Robin at the same time in a larger size. And this is actually, I think, would still fit him now. This was meant to be like the 6 to 12 months, but I think it would still fit him now. So I'm going to finish this. It's a really beautiful, simple vest with a cable up the front. I'm going to be grading it for various children's sizes. Worked in the round, bottom up, and I'm using my hand-dyed double knitting weight yarn in the colourway Afternoons, which was part of my collection a few years ago, and it is definitely one that I love and want to keep dyeing. I just need to remember the recipe. Some of these I actually can't remember the recipe for anymore, and I've lost the dye book, so I need to reinvent them all. Needless to say, this one needs finishing pronto because for the simple reason that Robin's going to grow out of it soon. I would quite like him to have it as a layering piece for the summer. So that one is staying. This one isn't a whip at all. It's just a pair of my hand knit socks that I found. This is the Vintage Christmas colourway by Stranded Dye Works, and the pattern is the Old School Socks, which is one of mine. It's available on Payhip. Okay, next in this Highland Cow bag is a completed back of a sweater and a skein of yarn. This is the Croft Shetland DK in a beautiful sunshiny yellow. It's called Heartland, this colourway. And all I'm making is a very, very simple jumper. It was going to be for my nephew. I think it might actually still fit him if I get on and finish it. It's ever so simple. It's garter stitch, but it's it is and it isn't. It's sort of 3 rows of stocking stitch one way and 3 rows of stocking stitch the other way, and it's just 2 panels, and then the sleeves are equally just 2 rectangles, and then the it's all sewn together, and then there's like a shawl collar that goes around it as well. It's very sweet. It's a UK Hand Knitters Association pattern. I think I'm going to finish this because I think it will still fit my nephew, and he'll get some wear out of it hopefully. And if not, Robin might be able to squeeze into it for a bit, or I'll sell it back to the shop as a shop sample. I'm halfway there already really, so there's no excuse not to finish it. Going to start speeding up a bit now, I think. In the Yarn Dispensary tote bag, so you can see the original version of the tote bag, I have my crocheted granny stripe blanket and a lot of minis, advent minis from my friends who've given me advents over the years, and the relevant crochet hook, it appears, as well. So needless to say, my crochet granny stripe blanket of joy is going to continue. I wanted it to cover a double bed. It would actually cover a king size. It's ended up 7.5 foot wide, which is why it's taken me so long. And each autumn I think, oh, I must get that out and do some more of it, and then I put it away and forget about it over summer. But this one is being kept. It's going to be the blanket that really means the most to me, I think, of all my projects. Okay, in this little drawstring bag is a current work in progress for work. It is a granny square t-shirt designed by Hanjan Crochet. I started this a week ago and I am almost done with the front. I'm using West Yorkshire Spinner Elements double knitting, which is a blend of merino and tencel. I think it's 60% tencel and 40% merino, Falkland merino. This really is a blast from the past, this one. It's vaguely criminal that I haven't finished it. It is the Bamba Shawl by Maddie Harvey. I started it back in 2019. I raced through a load of it last year when I was really getting my works in progress done. I'm using Isaga, mohair and lace, and I'm using a Fibre Spates high twist 4-ply, the Vivacious 4-ply as well. I'm well over halfway, so the fact I haven't finished it is vaguely criminal. This one's definitely being finished 100%. Okay, back to socks. In my Snuggly Stars Yarns sock sack, which desperately needs a wash, it's filthy, I have a hoe, so a finished sock for Robin, and this is in James C. Brett Funny Feets, which is a bamboo, merino and nylon blend that I'm trying out for the shop. I really love the way it's worked up. It's so cute, and I think it'll look cute in adult socks as well. And as you can see, I've done the ribbing for the second sock and I've started the leg. I'm using 2.5mm Zing needles on Magic Loop method, and I'm using my basic fuss-free vanilla sock pattern. For Robin on a 4-ply, I cast on 48 stitches. I'm working on writing up the various sizings as a pattern edit, but that probably won't happen until after we've moved now. So this one is also staying. The pile is slowly getting smaller, which is a bit reassuring. So in my Jibby Sews bag, with Peter Rabbit bag, again with matching notions pouch because I'm extra, we have got a couple of works in progress crammed in here. So first up we have they're both the Soho top. This one is Vanessa's, and this one actually I'm going to work on today and see if I can get this bit finished, because then it's off the needles, because it's actually not mine to continue. I'm only doing the first bit of this for Vanessa, and then she's having it back and doing the rest of it. So I'm actually going to get that off the needles today. So that's decided, that's definite, that's happening, and I'm using Rowan Cotton Cashmere for that one. And this is the second Soho top. This one is in the Rowan Creative Linen, which actually I'm really enjoying working with. I much prefer it to the studio linen from Erica Knight. as you can see, I've joined in the round and I'm working down the body. I was planning on colour blocking this using orange and cream, but actually I think I'm just going to make the entire thing in orange rather than colour blocking, just because I think it might be more economical with the yarn. So that one is staying. That is a shop sample, but it's my shop sample and I'm producing for the shop. So not one that I'm going to hand over to someone else. And I'm determined to get this finished in the next couple of weeks for our plant life window. Okay, I've got a minute left of back to film life before I need to add an extra memory to my camera. So this is the hopscotch hoodie, which I was doing for my friend's little boy for a couple of years ago for his birthday. So I'm hoping it will still fit. If not, I'm going to have it back and save it, and I'll do him a bigger size. So this is using the Prism Bright self-striping, and I believe this is Dusty Miller. No, it's not. It's a grey. It's Colour Lab DK. I've got a few balls of it here actually, none of which have the ball band on. Back is complete. The front, I've got most of the way up the ribbing. This is definitely being finished because I want him to have it. And if it ends up being too small for him now, then, or it might be the front, it's front that's done. If it ends up being too small for him, then I will just apologise and make another one and put this aside for Robin. But it's a really lovely project to do. It's West Yorkshire Spinners Colour Lab DK. It's from their book Colour Lab Kids, and it's the hopscotch hoodie. That one definitely being finished. Okay, so back for part 2 of the whip organisation. The sun really is coming in, so I'm going to try and cope without my glasses. You might be able to hear Mr. Tumble in the background, cries of no from my husband. Robin is currently putting his lunch in his hair, so I've stepped away and I was like, Daddy can deal with this one, and come back to do a bit more organising because I'm feeling much better. I'm feeling much better about the organisation. The one that's giving me jip is that bright yellow sweater. Not loving it. But I've paid for the yarn. It's not a shop sample, it's something I've bought. But it's simple, it's just garter stitch. Like, well, stocking garter stitch, you know what I mean? That weird, 3 on, 3 off type thing. Why is it giving me so much, ugh, why do I not want to do it? Why is it bugging me? I don't know. Right, okay, in this bag we have the book, which is Exquisite 4-ply. And I was doing this jumper, but we actually have this one, the exact one that she's wearing in the photograph, on display in the shops. We no longer need that sample. However, I was quite taken with it and quite liked the idea of the cardigan version. And I was doing it in Scrumptious 4-ply, which we still had in stock at that time, and I believe I've paid for this. No, I've paid for this. And it is really beautiful. It's a really beautiful colour. Here we have, I've got five hanks of it. It's a really beautiful colour. I started it, but I was never able to really work on it very well because of the amount of concentration that the lace took. So it's really beautiful. I'm trying to find which is the right way around to show you. That way's the right way. It really is beautiful. Not that you can really see, but there we are. I absolutely love it. But that's as far as I ever got. I don't know how far I am. I don't know what size I was doing. So what I'm actually going to do now here in front of you is pull it off the needles. Now, I still want a cardigan in this yarn. I love the blue. You know me and you know I love blue. It is my hands down favourite colour in the whole wide world. Yeah, I mean, just look how pretty that is. All that lace is so pretty. This lack of focus is really annoying me. I'm going to have to do B-roll, except for it'll be I've ripped this one off the needle, so there'll be no B-roll of this one. So this yarn is going back in stash at the moment. Which one's this come from? That one. Yeah, this yarn is going to have to go back in stash until I find the perfect project for it. I absolutely love this yarn. It's beautiful, it makes me so happy. The West Yorkshire Spinners Exquisite yarn is also really beautiful as well. But yeah, so this is going to go in the box to become something at some point, but it isn't going to be a whip I'm actively working on at the moment. Have a look through the book in a second and see if there's anything else that I fancy making. Hang on. Oh, I must have done quite a lot of knitting. The rows were quite long, it takes quite a lot of concentration. I think it's definitely something for when I've got more time later in the year, rather than now in the throes of packing to move. Okay, so this was going to be a sample. It's in my Song of the Sea colourway, in my DK Merino base, which I love. It's super squishy. It was the Tilly cardigan by Anakin Alice. It was a project bag yarn, so back when I was the project bag. And I've got 4 skeins of it here. No, 4 skeins of it. Now, I can't remember what size I was doing, but it's definitely not a size that will fit me. And it's not a colour that I'm dyeing at the moment. And so what I'm thinking is I really like the yarn. I would want something in this yarn for me. It's not going to be this. So, frogging. I might actually not frog just yet and take some B-roll so you can see it clearly in case it's not showing up very well. But there we are. I love it. I do love it. It's beautiful. I love Anakin Alice's designs. And as I said, this is my hand dyed yarn, so I definitely want something like this in my wardrobe, but it's definitely not going to be this. So for now, this is going to be frogged and put aside, and I will decide what to do in the future. And this is in a lovely bag from friends of mine at the shop. Okay, now this one I'm really excited about. It's the sibling sweater, and I'm doing it for Robin. It's going to be a shop sample initially, and that was the idea. I think I'm just going to have to buy the yarn and do it now. And it's just beautiful. I love that detail there. And I've done it incorrectly. I've done it so that the main colour is the darker colour, so a darker collar. And that was bugging me. And what was also bugging me was my increases here. They just weren't right. There's something wrong with them. You can see on the back it's going a bit wrong. This is one that I very much want to do. I love the yarn. It's Bo Peep Pure. And I've chosen River and Sand for the colours. And it's a pattern by Penrose Knits. I just love it. And I love how this yarn knits up. I'm really, really eager to do something in it. And it's living in a Verone's bags. So the lady I was talking about before, Veronique, and this was one of hers, a Mary Poppins one. So that's staying, but am I going to frog it and do it correctly? And if I frog it, do I then carry on with it? Do I finish other things first? Do I keep it out, ready to be continued on? Or do I not? Help, folks, tell me what to do. Do I rip that back and start it again, just wait to cast it on when I cast on other things because I really love it? Or do I just keep going with it now and get it done? Let me know below. You can decide the fate of this whip. Okay, I know I'm looking more bedraggled as the day goes on, but Robin's got to have his afternoon nap, which means I've got a few minutes to finish this job. So, first up, not my whip. This is the Remy camisole by Kadri, and it's one that we are doing at work. So this will be returned to the shop. Hooray! Next up, my first pair of socks from the 52 Weeks of Socks book. This is volume 1 and it's pair 1. I can't remember the name, but it's had a whoopsie. This lived in my husband's car as my on the road whip. And unfortunately, I don't know if you can see, but there's some little marks where it's got marked by a coffee spill or something like that. And the yarn itself has also got some marks. And so I've kind of not sure whether I want to carry on or just frog it. I mean, this is a pair for me, not necessarily for display. and it'll only be one pair that has the marks on, and they're not very easy to see and they may wash out. So finish or frog, help me decide. Okay, next up, this is a fairly new one. This is a sheep butt. It's a sheep butt. It's a crocheted sheep from Mabel Bunny and Friends, and I started this last Sunday. I'm quite enjoying the process, and it's going to be for my son Robin, who loves sheep, or as he calls them, bears. I'm using a really pretty decorative crochet hook that my friend got me for my birthday a few years ago. Don't know where she got it from, but it's really lovely. It's a 4.5mm hook, and I'm using chunky yarn for a nicer dense fabric because it is going to be for my little boy. So quite enjoying it. Definitely going to try and get this one finished. This one is in my womp womp spoiled little grey girl bag. I love this bag. I bought it at the Love Local at Christmas that we did, and it's got stains. It got in with the carrots basically. Now this is my Soho blouse, which I haven't touched for quite some time because I've been working on the Soho tops. But I absolutely love it, and I definitely want this in the wardrobe. It was going to be for the naturals and neutrals window, but I think it's going to be they've got so many samples for that. It's now going to be for the party season window later in the year. And just check out that gorgeous faux seam. So yeah, I'm doing this in Rowan Kid Silk Haze in a slate grey colourway, and it's going to be, if you haven't seen it before, if you're not familiar with the Soho top, oh, that's the knitting pattern for the Soho top. This is the Soho blouse. What have I done with the pattern for the blouse? Okay, gonna have to find it. But hey ho, at least we know where that spare pattern for the Soho top went. This is just a ball of wool because the half object, the first vanilla sock I made myself, is currently on display in the shop to advertise this colourway of yarn. Definitely going to finish this because I'm always complaining about having odd socks, and apparently I only knit odd socks too. That might be part of the problem. I started it just before Christmas with the intention of getting it done for my friend Mina's daughter Layla for her Christmas present, because I'm going away to Lapland and it was going to be so cosy for those chilly evenings there. It's a really cute headband and it is plaited, but you plait it as you go, which is slightly complicated. I've put the pattern down somewhere, which is super annoying. I'm working it in West Yorkshire Spinners Retreat Chunky in this gorgeous bright red, and I'm determined not to let this one defeat me. It's made using short rows and then moving the yarn, the stitches across each other, literally like you're plaiting the headband. It's not, I suppose it is kind of similar to a cable, but not, because you do quite a few rows and then twist them. Okay, no idea what's in here. Oh, this is another shop work in progress. Someone made quite a bit of progress on this at the start, and then we've just let it kind of drift. I think I did a row wrong and I needed to undo it. So this is Elements DK, but again, it's a shop whip. It will get finished. So this is a sock that I was doing for my friend Mia of Brambles and Me. It was going to be a sock design. She's since shut her company. As you can see, I've sat on the needles. I do want to get this finished for her. It's really important to me that she has it, but as you can see, it's fallen deeply in love with this project here, so I need to sort out the mess first. Oh no, there we go. I've done it. I've untangled it. Hooray! Yeah, the design for this one just wasn't this one just wasn't working. It's got a pretty picot edge, which I'm really chuffed with, and it's got a 1x1 twisted rib, and it's in a really beautiful colourway. I think it's the Hot Toddy colourway that she used to do. I am going to finish it as a design, and I will be sending it to her eventually. I just untangled this and then I got it tangled again. Okay, and that's all I can find for works in progress around the house, which worries me slightly because there's definitely at least two more that I can't find. So it's the Moira Rose shawl is missing, and I know that was living in a drawstring, the Midnight Diary bag, and my what's it called, the Rosa v-neck sweater that I was hacking because I'm using Aran weight yarn or worsted weight yarn, and I wanted the v-neck Rosa sweater. So I'm doing some weird combination of the Felix pullover that everyone's knit and the Rosa in Evie by Sublime, which is really lovely yarn. It's this stuff here. It's discontinued, but anyway. So that's it. So that's all the whips, and I'm giving some back to the shop for them to handle, which is great. I've frogged a few and I'm going to finish a few. So I now know roughly where I'm at. I'm still worried about these missing works in progress, but I do feel quite liberated for having got rid of some, for frogging some. The yellow, not quite garter stitch sweater is still really bugging me. I'm really not sure if I'm going to finish that one or not. It's just something about it that I don't really want to do it, and I think that's okay. So yeah, so I've gone through all the whips that I can find anyway. Something like 4 socks, several sweaters, and yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it was. I'm just going to take a moment to finish writing down on my whipboard, and then we can really see where I'm at. Okay, so I think this is it. I think it's just 20 items on the list. That's still more than I've had for a while. I was pretty consistently below 10. It's still, I don't know, I'm feeling like it's a bit too many, but it's definitely enough to keep me going until we move. So I don't need to start anything else or keep any yarn out for any future projects, because I've got plenty to keep me busy here. Okay, part 3 of this big old declutter video is all about organising my tools and notions and figuring out what I really need, what I don't, and how I'm going to store them in preparation for the move and once we've moved. At the moment, as I'm recording this, I'm not sure if it's going to be 3 separate videos or if it's going to be a one long video. We will see in editing, but either way, the answer will be on the bottom of the screen just now. I would love to know how many works in progress you have, how you organise them, how you craft. Do you like to work monogamously, just one thing at a time? Do you get the urge every so often, like I do, to just cast on all the things? Do you suddenly feel inspired and take great joy in starting? Are you a finisher, a frogger? I don't really frog projects, so actually having ripped back so many today, I'm not sure how I feel yet. I kind of feel a bit liberated. I kind of feel a bit ooh, and there's a bit of me that's like, but I wasted all that time. I wasted all that time making it in the first place, making the start. What have I done now? I've just ripped it out. Yeah, food for thought there, definite food for thought. Anyway, we will see. We will see. I've got 2 of these that are coming off the needles today, I'm determined. So I've got Vanessa's Soho and the DK socks for my dad. That'll take me down to 18. And then, yeah, I think looking at this, I don't think I've got any fast finishes after that. Oh dear. Oh well, I will see you for part 3. Take care. Bye.